Here's my theory.
Right.
And I've noticed this. My wife and I have butted up against this several times in recent weeks, and you probably have also.
Okay.
And I've noticed it in the health industry. I've noticed it in government offices. I've noticed it in private enterprises. Lord knows you've noticed it where you work just as I have.
Mm-hmm.
All the cutbacks of all the recent years, and it's happened with everybody. Everywhere you work, it's happened.
Yeah.
Where they get rid of a guy, and now all of a sudden you've got his job or her job. And one person, you used to have a full-time job, now you've got two full-time jobs.
Right, and the old one used to keep you plenty busy.
And nobody ever explains how, let's see, I used to work full-time doing this, and now he used to work full-time doing that. Now I'm doing both. Something's got to give, but nobody ever has that discussion.
Right.
That's never even brought up. It's like a mathematical truth.
Yeah.
That something's got to give,
but it's never even discussed.
Why, I can't imagine.
We're pretending that nothing has to give.
Yeah.
It's a bizarre emperor has no clothes, la 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 attitude. I'm not listening.
But we've clearly crossed some sort of line where nothing works right anymore. You know, because there's a limit. There's a limit to how many times you can do that. And we've seen it. We've seen it in our industry, and it's not just radio. It's everywhere. I know, because I know enough people, and
right.
You just read the newspaper. It happens everywhere. But for a while, it worked, you know, and it was pretty amazing. You get rid of that guy's job. They just consolidate it. A couple of people pick up the slack and work a little harder, and a few things drop through the cracks, but everything seemed to chug along. But I think we have crossed some sort of line, and everything seems to be falling apart. You go to any agency, a hospital, around here, anywhere you work, things that used to just have to get done don't get done anymore. Wow. And we've crossed some sort of line to where we're into severe incompetency everywhere. And I don't know, I see it all the time.
Could just be a period of adjustment. Well, the economy was bloated by fakery, by fraud at the the whole inflated housing boom and home equity mortgages and these fake securities being sold by Wall Street, et cetera. It could be the collapse is going to be difficult to manage.
But 6 people can't do 10 people's jobs.
Not well. No, certainly not.
And at some point, the real stuff starts to fall through the cracks. And I see it all the time. And I've got several examples that I can't talk about on the air, but you've seen them in your life, I'm sure. Where it's just like, how did this happen?
Right.
How did this happen? How did they not see that? How did this not get done?
Right.
And at some point, it just ceases to function.
You know, the corollary to your theory, your explanation, is that government is bigger than it's ever been, but has that same feel to it. I just think, you combine duties over and over again and fewer people, and people just start to think, well, screw it. Obviously, they don't expect me to do all of this well because that's an impossibility. So screw it. And they get enough done that the people above them who have a similar situation going on in many cases are thinking, all right, well, he didn't get that report done, but screw it. I'll just fake it up here and I'll just, nobody cares anyway. Yeah,
and this many customers got screwed over, or this didn't get done on time, or we didn't follow through on this commitment or promise.
Maybe this is just what a decline feels like.
That could be it. Maybe this is just the new world we live in, and this is what a declining empire feels like. That could be. That's depressing, but that could be it.
You know, I'm still plowing my way through Whittaker Chambers' classic Witness about his years as a communist in the Soviet Union and the finding commies in the U.S. government, et cetera, et cetera. And, that's one of the characteristics of a communist society is after a while, people just don't, since there is really no ownership, nobody takes ownership of anything. You just become a functionary. You just go through the motions, stay out of trouble, and
nothing works well.
Yeah, it's just the feeling. This is what decline feels like, I guess.
Interesting.
Oh, come on now. God dang, we're depressing. We're brutally depressing.
Anybody work somewhere where you're expected to take on somebody else's full-time job when they were let go? And there's no explanation of how that's supposed to happen? I know lots of people have dealt with that. In fact, everybody I know has dealt with that. 1-866-331-TALK, 1-866-331-TALK. You are listening to the Armstrong and Getty Show and watching on the Bay Area's TV 50. I might have to leave the room for our Carly Fiorino interview.
Really?
I can't stand the idea of listening to somebody claim they're going to be different. I was just watching the news last night, and there's a list of people who claimed they were going to be different now in public office, doing the same thing everybody else has always done. I just don't know why. Why would you? After how many times does it have to happen before you start to think, okay, whatever, meet the new boss, same as the old boss?
Yeah, I don't know.
I guess that means I don't believe in democracy. Well, maybe I don't.
I was going to say, if he's given up on the system. We've argued more than once it's got a lifespan. It's, like the human body. It accumulates a certain number of, or the ends of your cells break down. What do you call that with the telomeres or whatever the heck? It just, the machine is not designed to run forever. Maybe democracy is that way. I don't know. Certainly the history of the world would suggest that it's not designed to run forever.
Anyway, go about it.
Well, we'll talk about it. First, Brian's on the line to address your little screed about the non-functioning of the world these days. It's Brian in Stockton. Hey, Brian.
Hey, what's going on?
What's up, brother?
Hey, I had a question. Well, when you were talking,
this is going to go well. I can tell you.
All right,
go ahead.
Excellent.
Well, if you have 10 jobs that dwindle down to 6, and then people are acting as though that it wouldn't get done, this is what I don't get. All of those people had, if there's 10 workers there, they didn't have enough to do in the first place. So once they got laid off, and then a little bit of that work fell down to everybody else, what happened? Really, it's not that much work. It's just people, after a while, they got so used to basically doing nothing, and then all of a sudden you get a halfway decent amount of work to do, now you're upset. I know a lot of people who do this.
There is truth to that, Brian. I've heard it was a Wall Street Journal piece that a lot of companies are finding out, we were bloated.
Yeah, I absolutely think that's true. That's how it has worked for years.
I know I'm bloated.
This years of taking, you got 3 jobs and you consolidate to 2, and then you look back 6 months later and think, wow, we're keeping on. Yeah, apparently. Yeah. So there must have been, but obviously we've gone past the point of slack and now into the point of incompetence because things just don't function anymore.
Well, what kind of business you in, Brian?
Well, without putting myself out there, but I'll put it this way: city, county type. I work in and out of those facilities where basically a lot of government. Exactly. So
I was talking mostly about the private sector.
Yeah. Hey, it's a good point though. Thanks for making it. Yeah, but I'll tell you what, in the radio industry, because of the whole grotesquely overpaying for radio stations, going private, going public, going private again stuff, and all the debt that's amassed, we're way past the point of like maximum efficiency to now. I mean, it's like a ghost town.
I think most industries are.
It's a good thing we've got such a self-contained little beast here, the Armstrong and Getty show, and we've kept our little crew intact because, it's terrible.
I interacted with a county government official yesterday, dealing with those stray dogs.
Ah, yes.
And this person was so either stupid or just didn't care. I mean, my mouth was open at like how this could possibly be.
Wow.
And I don't know if it's, what I've been talking about, cutbacks and one person doing 5 jobs or whatever, but it's just freaking amazing.
It could be argued that the free market works that sort of thing out to maximum efficiency. Constantly, there is a constant, never-ending process of strengthening.
At least in the private sector.
Trimming and growing and trimming as it's needed, and we're becoming more and more government-oriented, entitlement-oriented, and that stifles that process.
In the private sector, I got to believe the private sector does a hell of a lot better job of cutting back than the government does.
Look around.
For a lot of different reasons. But in the private sector, you're going to have a manager on a smallish level saying, okay, I don't want to do without him, but I'm going to have to do without him because that guy's really good and he can do this and that. In government, you got all these various seniority rules and, who knows what. So you end up with plenty of incompetent people who stay and good people who go. And this department still has too many and this department doesn't have enough. And it's just not. And so it continues to be inefficient.
Yeah, I'm telling you. The problem with not being a free market person is you have no conception of the complexity of what the free market does. It does a million things. Milton Friedman is so good at describing this. The problem with the people who think that they can run things like a centralized economy, your Keynesians, your Paul Krugmans, etc., is they think they see about 25 things that need to be managed. They don't see 2,500 that are being managed naturally that you're stifling. So anyway, that's why I'm a free market guy. So ends my screed. Screw it. Where's my liquor? I'm just going to drink my way through the show. It's going to be entertaining, folks. Entertaining. There'll be FCC violations at a rate like machine gun fire.
I found out the full story on our stray dogs. Carly Fiorino coming up right after the news. She's running
Candidate for Senate. That's right, Jack. Isn't that exciting?
I got the full story on the stray dog situation because I left the house yesterday. My wife alerts me to the stray dogs. We find out the stray dog's late. I'm running out the door. I make sure they're safe. Then she deals with it. Then I find out the full story.
Yeah.
The dogs we had coyotes like 12 feet from